Hello friends. So today we would see what is collation in SQL Server, which plays a very important role while working with SQL Server, and especially when while storing the data, retrieving data, and in some cases comparing and ordering of the data related to the data types varchar and varchar. So as usual, the agenda would be understanding the collation and then a practical demo. So first of all, let us see what is collation. Collation refers to a set of characters and character encoding rules, and it controls how data is stored according to the order in data page, comparing two columns and data arranged in TSQL query statements. As I already told you, that collation plays an important role, right? While storing the data, comparing the two columns, and then within the query, and then ordering of the data. While retrieving data using TSQL statement, collation plays primary role in execution. It's important with which collation is associated with the column while ordering is applied to the column. Depending upon the collation setting of the column or collation setting of the server or a database, right? The order by clause would change. The data in an order by clause would change. Even while you compare the two varchar or char columns, in that case also you may get a conflict. We would see everything into the demo. If you want to further understand this, please refer to official Microsoft site for further detailed understanding about the collation. Collation comes with certain options. Okay, so they are called as case sensitive, accent sensitive, kana sensitive, width sensitive, and from SQL 2019 onwards, Microsoft has introduced UTF-8 encoding also. Right. So what do you mean by case sensitive? Right. For example, information in the column can be case sensitive, and lowercase letter will not be treated the same as the uppercase letter. This distinction is important for data sorting in the query result set. Okay, so you can see J, like J is my first G, J is in uppercase, and in the second G, J is in lowercase. Now, when you are using the collation with the case sensitive, right, then these two are very different values, right? They are not same values. Similarly, accent sensitive, you can see here the A here is different and A here is different. So these are all different values. When you are setting kana sensitive, then hiragana and katakana are different. Now these are basically associated with the Japanese characters, and then it comes with width sensitivity, where a single byte of character and double byte of characters are also different. The characters may be the same the way, but the single byte, and if you are storing with a single byte or double byte, then it would make a difference. Let's move ahead. Now, collation is applied on four levels, right? The collation can be applied on four levels: instance level, a database level, a column level, and in a query level. So, in a query also, you can overwrite the collation from your upper hierarchy. Okay. So, yeah, let us see something in action. Let me open the demo environment. Right. So here is the demo environment, so you can see here, I have this database and this is my server. Okay. So let us first see like how you can get the what are the different types of collation. So there is a system catalog, function called as fn underscore help collations. When you execute this function, a table value function, you can see the different types of collation here. So can you see here, like like almost more than 5,500 collations are there. Right now, this again depends upon the language across the globe. Language for each country and for each region. Right. So you can see here the different, like for here the Arabic is there. Then you can see the Assamese would be there. Then this is Azir click click, Azeri click click, Azir Latin, and so on, right? But if you can see, let me expand this. So you can see here the type of the collation. Now this is the language here, and this you can see that is CI, CIAI, then CIAI, KS, and W. So these are all different types, and you can in the description you can see here. So for example, if we click this, then you can see that the CI is case insensitive, AI is accent insensitive, WS is Kana type insensitive, and SC is supplement, sorry, supplement characters and width sensitive. Similarly here, if you see here CIAS, right? Then you can see this is case sensitive, SN sensitive, and so on. So these are the abbreviations given for this. Now, if you can see here the binary, then this is only a binary sort, right? So on. So when you actually query this function, you can get all the what you can say collations uh, available for use. Now let us see how to know what are the instance level collation set and what is the collation set on my database and on my table. So before that, let me create these two tables which we would be using in our later part of the demo. I am creating three tables here. Let me create those. Okay. So these are created. Now there are two ways. So you can always right click on the server, or you can give a server property also. There is a function called server property, and when you pass the collation, then you can see the collation of the server. So currently, if you can see, collation on the instance level is SQL Latin 1 General CP1 CIS. That is case insensitive, accent sensitive. Okay. Now I have a database on a server. So you can see for database, right? This collation. Okay, one a Latin one general CIS. I have created with this database for our demo, and you can see for my database that collation is different. I have used Latin one general CIS, and my master contains SQL Latin one. Now, whenever whenever you install a server, whether it is on a PaaS environment or a VM or a on-premises, whenever you install a server, whatever the server collation you have used during the installation of an instance, right? The same collation would be, set for all your system databases, that is master, MSDB, model, and tempdb. Okay, and hence here you can see for master, it's a different collation, and for my database, it's a different collation. Okay, and for my table, you can see here when I created a table, so you can see as I created a table on my database, now database contained Latin 1 general CIS, right? So you can see all the varchar column, right? You can see the collation for those columns is Latin 1 general CIS, which is the same as my database. Okay. So this way, you can actually, see the collation levels or the collation set for your instance. Then this is for my database, and this is for my the column levels. Okay. Now let us see as we talk, what is case sensitive and what is accent sensitive and all those things. So let me create one table. So here I'm creating an employee table, and you can see there are two columns. One is employee name, where I'm using the collation as CP1 CIAS, and on my employee name other I am using SQL Latin General CP1 CSAS. Now the difference between this is CI means this is case insensitive and this is case sensitive. Okay. Now you might have understood also that though my database is Latin 1 general CIAS, but I can still override that while creating a table. So now whenever I create this table, my employee name and employee name other column would contain this collation instead of Latin 1 general CIAS. Okay, let me show you that as well. So I'm creating this table, and let me put this table now in my top query here. Uh, okay, and now if I execute this, see, as I told you, right? So this has been overridden, right? So it has not inherited the collation from database, but it has taken the collation which we supplied on the column level. So this also you can actually override, right? And now I am actually inserting some values into this table, okay? And when I see the values, okay, now remember my employee name is with collation as case insensitive, and my employee name other is with collation as case sensitive. Other, the rest of the thing remains the same. Okay, and this is my data. So in my first row, the employee name is uppercase Jitendra and this is in lowercase. Here in this case, this is, my first character is uppercase in both the columns, and here also again my employee name is uppercase and the employee name other is my lowercase. Okay, now let us see if I say employee name is equal to j upper and a upper. If I'm actually executing this query with this filter, now employee name is what, my case insensitive. Okay, so if I execute this query, it is going to return me both the rows because I have passed Jitendra, and but this is case insensitive. Case insensitive means it would not check for uppercase or lowercase. It would just check like the value of that column, that is Jitendra. Now similarly, if I fire the same query here for my employee other column, let me show you. Okay, so see. Okay, if I fire the same query on my employee other column, no rows is returned. Why? Because my employee other column has having the collation as case sensitive. Okay, and you can see when I say case sensitive, so there is no record with first letter as up in uppercase and last letter in uppercase here, right? Similarly, with my employee other column, if I say Jitendra first letter with an uppercase, now if I execute this, you can see the Jiten, the only second row is returned, but not the first, because in first row, my value in my employee name other is all in lowercase. But when I execute this query with the case sensitive, because my employee other column is having collation as case sensitive. So you can see only it would match where my J is the first letter is uppercase and rest is in lowercase, right? So this is where the collation plays a very important role. Similarly, if I'm executing this query with order by, once on an employee name and another on an employee other, right? So if you can see the order also, it differs, right? With my insensitive, it has with the employee name, you can see like Chirayu, Jitendra has came, right? But in my employee with the employee other, you can see Chirayu is again in top, but the Jitendra J with uppercase has came into the second place, right? And J with all the lowercase has came into the last place. So even with the collation, right, the order by clause also plays a very very important role. Hope you have understood, guys, about how the collation plays an important role and how it differs from one to another. Other problems comes with the collation is that if you have two different collations, right? Okay, then what happens sometimes, your query, there are chances that your query breaks. So for example, here I have two tables. Select star from information schema dot tables. Give me a second. Okay, right? So for example, I have here two tables. If you can see table 1 and table 2, and my query in my table list table, I have created one user-defined table called table list. Let me execute this. Um, so table list contain two rows, table one and table two, in which my there are also physical table also. So what I'm just trying to do is I am actually joining this information schema tables, right, on the column table name on both the cases in both the on both the tables. So information schema also contains the table name and my table list contains on also the table name. So I'm selecting all the records, right, from the information schema table or from the table list wherein my information schema tables also contains the same number of tables, right? So in this case, only table 1 and table 2 would be selected and not the table list and employee, because my table list contains only table 1 and table 2. And on my information catalog table also, it contains table 1, table 2, and table list and employee, but only two rows would be because due to the inner join. Okay. So now when I execute this query, right, to get these details, you can see the error is being generated. Let me show you this error in bigger way. So what does this error shows? You can see here, cannot resolve the collation conflict between SQL Latin 1 General CP1 CIAS and Latin 1 General CIAS, right? Because we are actually, as I told you, we are comparing two varchar columns. Okay. Table name into my information catalog schema tables catalog table, and table name into my the table generated in my database called table list, right? Now why this is so? So if we get the information on this, then you can see here that in my information schema tables, the table name contains the collation as SQL Latin 1 General CP1 CIAS. Why? Because this is been this has been inherited when I created an instance, right? And when I created an instance, I use this collation. But as you know, this table list is being actually created into this database, which has Latin 1 General CIAS. So when I actually see the information on this table, then table name you can see this is Latin 1 General CIS, which means what? There are two different collation between these two tables, which I'm trying to join actually. And that's where this error has actually generated, that SQL Latin 1 General CP1 CIS is not, has a conflict with Latin 1 General CIAS. Okay, so how to resolve this problem? Now there can be two ways. One is either we change the collation of the database as a whole, and then similarly the collation of this column also, or there is a called collect database default clause actually, right? So there is a clause called collect, right? And in that either you can specify database default, which means on both the side of the joining condition it will use the database default whatever it is, right? Or else you can specify the collation also. So here in this case in my upper query, what I'm doing, I'm using collect database default on both the side of the joining condition, right? Which means what? Now the value from this table would also get converted into whatever collation is set for database, and the value, table name value, right? The collation for this table would also get converted, whichever is default for my database. And then when you run this query, so instead of now having an error, creating an error, it will generate a result set, right? So these are coming from my information schema table, and these are from my table list. Similarly, if you want to specify any specific collation, you can do that as well. So instead of database default, you can specify please use the Latin 1 General CISS on both the side. That is whatever columns are on the joining column. Please use Latin 1 General for my table list table name also, and Latin 1 General CIS for my information schema tables dot table name also. Similarly, when we execute this, you can see again the record is generated. But in this case, if I execute this without any collect clause, then it was actually generating an error. So these were two demos, right? I had also shown you that how the data is stored, and when you retrieve the data with a filter condition, it affects when you have a different correlations on a columns, right? And even sometimes your query might, there are chances to for the query to got break due to this collation level. So it is always preferable that before you write a query, right, you always check that what are the collation levels on the instance and database and columns, which is very, very important, right? So hope you have liked this video related to the collation, and get some more details and more knowledge on this from the official Microsoft site, and try on your own to get the concept more clear, right? So as usual, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to the channel. And also, if you like this video, right, please like and share this video with your friends and colleagues. Uh, and yes, meet you next time with next good topic. Till then, bye.